Hey everybody, it's Charles from HumbleMechanic.com. Today I'm taking your questions on upgrading your car, rolling fenders, road trips, and more. This is episode 196 of the Humble Mechanic Podcast. All right, in order to get a question on a show like this, you email me, charles@humblemechanic.com, put question for Charles in the subject, ask that question, give me some space, then give me the details. Also, if you don't see your question on a show like this, be sure to check out the quick videos playlist on YouTube where I do one question per video. And really quick before we get into the show, if you want exclusive content, discounts to places like Black Forest, Eurowise, Eastwood, Adams Polishes, MT Knives, and more, check out the Crew Membership program. It's a great way to get a ton of extra content. Again, those great discounts that I just mentioned, as well as VW Audi training manuals and a handful of other really cool things. It's also a great way to help support me, help support the show, and literally keep the lights on. Remember, link down in the description. Real quick before I get into your questions, I want to talk a little bit about the Milwaukee Tools Symposium that I went to last week. This was really neat. It was an event full of media, full of professionals. This is where Milwaukee showcases all the new tools coming out. So most of the tools that they showcased had nothing to do with being a technician. It was new drill bits to drill into cement that you can attach a vacuum to, which was really cool, or the latest toilet declogger thing that you wear on your back, and thank God I have no use for that, and I hope and pray I never ever do. On the automotive side though, a couple of really cool things that I want to share with you guys that are coming out soon. Updated electric ratchets. So they went brushless, they're now fuel, they're still powered by M12 batteries, 1/4 inch, 3/8, and they came out with a 1/2 inch one, which is just a beast of an electric ratchet. So I'm pumped to check those out. A lot of the stuff's not coming out till fall, so once it comes out, I'll have more information for you and even some hands-on experience on some of this stuff. A very small impact on M12 pack as well. That's going to be really cool. Lightning fast, ton of power. The other really cool thing was electric soldering iron, which is awesome. The best thing I saw, though, I'm so pumped, I wish they had this when I first started, electric heat gun. So you don't have to search around for your stupid extension cord to heat up your heat shrink or heat up your wire connector, sealers, any of that stuff. Really, really cool. That one's powered by the M18 battery, the bigger battery. Very excited about that. I already mentioned the electric soldering iron, which is ultra cool. Also, the new high torque impacts are coming out, which are cool. A lot of smart things, connects to your phone, custom settings, custom torque settings, which is really, really neat. You can also change speeds in and out, how fast the tool moves. Instead of just rolling a dial to turn it down, you actually connect it with your phone, dial it in, and then you can change the presets on the buttons down at the bottom of the tool. So very, very neat stuff. There was some cool lighting. That under hood lighting was really, really neat. Excited to test drive that as well. All right, let's get into the first question. Comes from Don. Good evening, Charles. I'm about to take a 2-week-long road trip from Baltimore to Tennessee to Texas and back. My wife is graduating Air Force military training. Well, congratulations to your wife, man. Give her the best from all of us. That's really awesome. I was wondering if you ever did any videos on prepping for a 3,000-mile road trip, or maybe what tools are a good idea to keep in the trunk and so on. Thanks for any help. I do appreciate it. Don, great question. I actually have done videos on prepping for road trips. I'll try and link that stuff down in the description, or like whatever side the little bubble pops up, right? I'll try and link that up there, at least one of them anyway. This is actually not nearly as hard as people make it out to be. I would say the big things is make sure your car is up to date on all the maintenance. This may be a time where if you do your own oil change, it might be worth paying somebody to do the oil change. You're going to get the car up in the air, you're going to get the wheels off the ground, they're going to do a full inspection. Make sure you ask for that. Make sure you ask for that because some places won't just automatically do it. That was one thing that I just did as part of my oil change in any service really, is look the car over. Tell them you're going on a road trip, you want to make sure it's safe. So tire pressure, make sure your wipers are good, make sure your fluid's topped off, make sure your fuel gauge works. Boy, that would be an unhappy time to have a bad fuel gauge. You also want to make sure that you're maybe packing extra washer fluid, extra, quart or liter of oil. Wouldn't hurt. Check the spare tire, make sure it's full and has the proper amount of air. Make sure that your jack is in working condition and all the stuff to change your tire, make sure all that's in working condition. As far as tools, you're not going to do a whole lot of roadside repairs for the most part. So basic hand tools, if this is a VW, a set of 10 to 20 or 10 to 19 sockets, a ratchet, some wrenches, adjustable wrenches, pliers, that kind of stuff, vice grips, channel locks, like the bigger channel locks, bigger vice grips. That way, just in case something weird happens, you have at least something you can clamp, clamp back on and get you to the next stop. Don't be thinking so much like, I'm going to put my car back to factory on the road. Be thinking, I need to get it to the next facility to get it fixed properly. As far as that goes, go through the basics, man. Again, tire pressure, spare tire and jack, all that stuff in good condition. Tools that you might need roadside, sockets, ratchets, vice grips, that kind of stuff. Make sure all your lights work. Make sure your brakes are good, right? Your belts are good. Make sure you don't have any severe oil leaks that could potentially cause a problem. It's not so much that your car's going to break down on this trip. One of two things is going to happen, or maybe even both. You're going to break down in the middle of nowhere, and you're not going to have any way to call anyone. Or you're going to break down and it's going to cost you a couple of days on your trip. Do very thorough visual inspections and make sure everything is as good of condition as it can possibly be for your car. Also, pack snacks. Make sure your tunes are primed up on your iPod playlist or whatever. SD card, make sure your tunes are primed up. I like to always have snacks on road trips. It seems to help the time pass a little bit faster. But great question, man. Throw a patch kit in. If you got a small compressor, throw a small compressor in there. That way, if you get a flat on the road, you can fix it and then get to the nearest tire repair facility. So think breakdown, think things you're capable of doing. There's no point in having an engine rebuild kit in the back of your car because you're probably not going to be doing one roadside. Maybe throw a couple extra fuses in your glove box in case your 12-volt outlet fuse blows. That way you can still charge the old cellular device. Safe travels, and again, thank you to your wife. Congratulations to her. Thank you for her service and for the sacrifice that your whole family's making. All right, next one comes from Sven. Hey, Humble Mechanic, I've been watching your videos for a while now, subscriber, of course. Thanks for that very much. I really appreciate the honesty, tips, tricks, etc. I live in Canada and wish you were in my neighborhood. Just curious, I had a question for you. We got a 13 GTI that we purchased new. Dealer maintenance is almost now at 138,000 kilometers. This is where we struggle. We either want a new GTI or a Golf R. We like both. Which one would you recommend? Some guys I talked to who got a 16 Golf R love it. Some had major issues with it within the first 10,000 kilometers on it, turbos, electronics, etc. Yes, it is under warranty, but I don't want to spend $40,000 on a lemon that will be in the shop. I also like the idea of the 18 LED lights, all around a bit of a different design. I was hoping that the 18 maybe has all the wrinkles out of the engine. If you have any advice, please let me know. Also, where could I get a t-shirt? Sven, email me on the t-shirt thing. I'll tell you how to do that. I haven't set up a store or anything like that for you guys to buy shirts. But to the question of should I get a GTI, should I get a Golf R? So if you're waiting till 18, it is a revision. I think it's like a split year, so this should be a Mark 7.5 Golf. I don't know the full changes right off the top of my head. Typically, half years are either a bump, a facelift, or a complete redesign. So go back to 99.5. The Jetta went from the Mark III to the Mark IV. 2005 is a Mark IV. 2005.5 Jetta is a Mark V. So I wouldn't be the first in line to get the newest model unless I was prepared to deal with being a real-world beta test, okay? When we buy the first run of a car, I always feel like you're the real-world beta test. Sometimes that works great. Sometimes it goes awful. Typically, when a new car is launched, there is a handful of problems. When a facelift is launched, it's not really as big of a deal. How do you make the decision, though? Do you buy the GTI? Do you buy a current model Golf R? Do you buy the next model Golf R? This is a decision that there really is very little advice for because it all boils down to what car do you want. Is the current generation GTI more proven? Is the current generation Golf R more proven than the next one coming out? Sure. There were a lot of kinks very early on in the Mark 7s when they came out. Engine issues, transmission issues, not too many electronics issues, but there were a handful of problems. As they've gotten more time and more on the road, and Volkswagen's been able to make changes to parts and update things and really do a pretty good job, I think, of nipping problems in the butt. that overall amount of problems comes down, down, down. But it all really wraps around to, what do you want? Do you want a Golf R? Do you want to pay 40 grand for a car? Do you want a GTI? Do you want to pay 29, 30 grand for a car? Those are questions that you have to decide for yourself. As far as spending the money to get a lemon, spending 40 grand on a lemon, there's no way you're going to know that. You could spend 15 grand and get a lemon. You could spend 150 grand and get a lemon. There's so many things that play into whether a vehicle's on a lemon or not. What criteria does it meet? It has to meet, certain criteria. Is it the car is really just a piece of crap and should have been sent back to the factory? Possibly. Is it that the dealership you're taking it to has no clue how to fix the car, and that's just maybe the tech working on it or the techs working on it are not great technicians? Is it that Volkswagen or Audi or BMW or Ford doesn't know how to fix the car? It's not that the techs can't do it, it's that the brand, it's that the manufacturer doesn't know how to fix this problem, which I have seen plenty of times. If I were buying a new car, I would probably save my pickles. I would probably buy the Golf R, and boy, does that new 2018 look really, really nice. This guy might wait till 2018 unless I need a car right now for that new gen Golf R, because while you're the rolling beta test for it, there's also a certain cool factor to have one of the early ones, and I think that's pretty neat. And again, I would be leaning more on that side of it, but that's just me. You got to do what's right for you, your needs, your family, and what you're really expecting out of the car. All right, last one comes from TJ. More of a specialty question than a general VW question. That's cool, I like those. I'm setting up a 95 E36 for the track. I have a set of mid-2000s 535 wheels on the car. Front fits well, but the back rubs the fenders. I could use the baseball bat trick or the phone book trick, but wonder if you would receive better results from something like the Eastwood fender roller, but would it provide an additional $100 of better result? So what TJ is having is in the back of his car, as the suspension travels up, it's hitting the fenders and scraping. And on my Cabby, I had that happen a bunch of times. It actually cut into the tire. So not something you want to have on any car, but especially a car on the track. So Eastwood makes a tool that bolts up to the hub, and it's got a wheel on it, and you roll it around the fender. It actually pushes the fender out a little bit. I have tried to use this. I tried to use it on the Cabby, and it didn't fit because the distance between the hub and the fender was too short. Even with the suspension not all the way down on the coilovers, it was too close of a gap. I did the baseball bat trick, or a version of that, really, and it worked okay for me. I really do think you're going to get way better results out of the Eastwood tool, taking your time. I think a lot of guys will heat the fender up so it doesn't crack the paint. On a track car, that may not be as big of a deal, but on a show car, you surely don't want to do that. I would imagine Eastwood has really good instructions on how to use that. Their stuff is fantastic. If you're a crew member, you get a discount, so a little bump for the crew member there. But let's think about this a little bit bigger than just, is this going to be the better result on my car? It probably will. It'll probably give you a better result. Is it going to be $100 worth? I don't know, but that's going to be based on you and how you use the tool and the time and care you take into doing the job. But let's look at it a little bit bigger picture. So now we have this tool. Well, what do we do with it? Well, let's make some money on it, right? Let's try and find some local people, and maybe we practice on our car. Hell, maybe we go to the junkyard and practice on a couple junkyard cars, and then sell that as a service. Sell that as a service to local car clubs. Maybe they don't have $100 to buy this tool, but maybe they have $50 to pay you to do it, or $50 and they take the wheels off, you bolt it up, do the thing, and make some extra money on it. And that may be a good way to pay for the tool. Maybe we take it, we buy it, we do it, and then we sell it for $60. That way it only cost us $40. Or maybe we try and find someone selling it used and buy theirs, and maybe now it only costs us $60. Or we rent one. If anyone rents one, look into that too. So there's many other ways to make our money back, make more money, which would be the one I would be looking at, is how do I sell this as a service to make more money, not only get my money back, but start paying for track car parts. Track car parts aren't cheap. That's where my mindset would be. So I would buy the Eastwood one. I would do it that way on my car, and then I would be looking to profit from purchasing that tool either selling it as a service to local people, selling the tool to someone else that needs it, renting the tool to someone else that needs it. That way you can put a little cash back in your pocket, and that $100 hit doesn't feel so bad. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. Question, comments, you know what to do. You like the video, thumbs up it. Don't forget to subscribe right here on YouTube and over on the blog at humblemechanic.com. If you want exclusive content, discounts you can't get anywhere else, as well as VW Audi training manuals, check out the Crew Membership program. There is a link down in the description. You can also throw some support over on Patreon. So I did, just for you. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. A lot of different stuff I post there that doesn't always make it to YouTube videos, so I highly recommend that. Plus more following the White Wookie project. Definitely want to follow on social. All right, guys. Hey, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.